Happy Friday. Driving to work. I just picked up some Dunkin' Donuts just because it's Friday and because I like to do little things like that, and it's just nice to do. I like to do little things to help others, make others feel better to the best of my ability. Obviously, I can't change anybody's mind. I'm only in control of myself. But I know that overall, most people appreciate things like that. And the little things in life are the most important, at least for me. And I found that when I do that for other people, they appreciate it. So, it's Friday. Yesterday was fantastic. I had a great day at work. I was tired. I'm tired. My job is physically demanding right now. Things will be changing, I'm sure, soon. But with everything that's been going on, it's been a little different out of my normal, I guess, job title. But that is okay. I have learned to embrace whatever is given to me work-wise, because I know that I am not laboring for man. I am physically, but realistically, because of my faith and my beliefs, I believe and I know that I am laboring for the Lord, and I do not do that labor in vain. I have a job. I am so grateful for that. I love my job. I'm happy. It's been almost a year that I've been with this company, and it's been a big learning curve. It's been a huge adjustment since I just moved back to Ohio from California. I'm settling still. I feel like I'm comfortable, but I'm still settling. And I think that what tends to happen is we get comfortable. And to be able to embrace change and challenges and struggles and be able to just literally learn to roll with the punches. I think it's not easy, but at the same time, once you start doing it for a while, it does get a little bit easier. Being away from my family for so many years and just really feeling alone physically. Every time I had to go to the ER, every time something happened, like big, I had friends who became my family, but I didn't have my family, and that was really difficult. My marriage failed. Well, I guess I don't really want to say failed. I would like to say that we were young and we both made a lot of mistakes, and we had to learn from those mistakes in order to be where we're at now. And I guess this season right now is a combination of growing through singleness and being 100% independent. I'm not leaning on anyone else. I don't want to say that I ever have, but prior to coming back home, I had a roommate. I had a significant other that I lived with. And right now, it's just me and my dogs. It's literally me and my dogs. And I don't have cable. I don't even have internet. Yeah, I know. But by the time I get home, I'm embracing the sunshine, though. It's been nice. The winter wasn't bad. It was very mild, but I'm embracing it. And I think that's what is so difficult to do sometimes, is that we resist change. And resisting change means that we have become complacent. We have become okay with where we're at. I was resistant to accepting my faults, and that I partook in my failed marriage, and my marriage didn't work out. So I had to grow a lot. There was a lot of growing pains in California. I worked a lot. I worked different jobs. I worked 7 days a week at a point in time. I didn't understand a lot of things, but over time I learned to embrace it all. And every time I drove myself to the ER, which was I think 3 times, every time something tragic happened, one of my dogs got sick, or I had to put down 2 of them, I didn't have my family there, and that was rough. But I embrace all the changes that happen in life. And there's a scripture that I memorized, which is Philippians 4:6. It is, do not be anxious about anything, but in every situation, by prayer and petition, with thanksgiving, present your requests to God. With thanksgiving. How difficult is it to be thankful for the hardships? That doesn't sound like it really goes together. It kind of sounds like an oxymoron, but it goes very much so hand in hand. Hardships grow us. God takes those hardships and He builds us from it. He strengthens us, and we have to lean on Him through all of that. But I think that's where we struggle, is leaning on Him and allowing Him to mold us and shape us how He wants us to be molded and shaped, and who He wants us and who He needs us to be. And we all have different callings, we all have different purposes, but to be able to put our pride aside, because pride is an ugly thing, let me tell you. Do not be prideful, do not be boastful, because it will destroy you. Be humble, because the Lord is gracious, graceful. I'm still half asleep. Gracious, graceful, and merciful. He gives us grace. He grants us the peace that we need. He gives us things that we don't understand. He blesses us. He provides. He's our provider, our protector. He is our rock and our foundation. And we have to, absolutely have to, be dependent on Him. I can't do any of this by myself. And when I feel myself getting anxious or stressed out or whatever is happening in my life, and I go into that me, my, I mentality, as society tells us to do, society teaches us to be concerned only about you, and it's such an ugly mentality. There's a lot of ugly things in this world, and I think that's why it's so important for us to really focus on the beauty in God's love and God's grace and peace and mercy and kindness and gentleness and just all the fruits of the Spirit that we fall short of every single day. We can trust in Him for all of it. And ever since I left California, I have gained so much calm and serenity, and I have really, because I would have been yelling right now because people drive so crazy. But after leaving California, I have learned a lot about really just embracing the little things in life. I feel so much less stressed now that I'm not there, because I felt like it was so fast paced, and everything was 100 miles an hour all day, every day, and it was a rat race for me, and I was trying to keep up and pay my bills, and I didn't have family I could move in with. I didn't have, these things that, some of my friends had, and I was grateful to see that they had that, but it was an internal struggle for me to not have that. I loved being around them because they treated me like family, but ultimately it made me want to be around my own family more. And I think that I needed to be out there for the long time that I was almost a local. 10 years makes you a local. But I guess I needed all of that. And I'm grateful for it. God provided in so many ways. He still provides. He provided me with this amazing job. Out of obedience, I left California and I got to have an amazing cross-country road trip. I got to experience some things that I feel that were once in a lifetime at that point. I was 29, so it was I think it was the perfect timing to do it, and I just trusted God, and He got me from California to Florida, which is where I was moving. Florida was not my final destination, even though I thought it was, but when I got to Florida, and one of the days that I was there, it was a very difficult place for me, because I was literally alone, 100% alone, at this state park, in my travel trailer, my truck and my dogs and me. I had limited water, potable water. I was, at this point, short on money. I was struggling to find a job, and I spent like 2 nights at the state park with no electricity. It was about 90 degrees. And I tell you, I don't know how Moses survived the desert for 40 days. I had 2 days of it was rough. I broke down mentally and physically. I was broken down, and I just cried and cried and cried and cried. And I prayed, 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 and I cried, and I prayed. And then, in the midst of it, I got this overwhelming sense of peace. It was crazy. And I just felt like He was telling me, this isn't it. This isn't your end all. Don't give up. Don't let this be the last of it. And that's what I felt He was telling me. You're gonna leave here, and I'm gonna continue to go with you, just as I always have been. And all I could do, with just my face wet and a mess, and I was sweaty and just struggling internally, all I did, I smiled, and I just said, okay, you got this. I'm not going to question it. I'm just going to do it, whatever you need me to do. And about an hour later, my mom calls me, and she says, I don't like where you're staying. Why don't you just come home? And I started crying again, and I said, okay. So I packed up my stuff, hitched my trailer back on, and I reached out to my women's Bible study group from California, and I asked them if they could just pray for me, and I told them what was going on, and the amount of love that I received from not just my women's Bible study, but from my church was it was a huge blessing. And I truly believe that when you live a certain way and you give to others, the Lord sees that, and He will give that back to you. And I truly believe that that's what happened. All the times that I felt like I was taken advantage of because I was too nice, I don't regret it. Not because I was giving it back, but because I did it out of the goodness of my heart. I did it because I wanted to. I did it without expectation. And that's what we should be doing. And I continue to do my best to live that way each and every day. So I hope today this encourages you. It's a little bit longer than I planned. I thank you so much for listening to it. And I really hope that you have a beautiful Friday, beautiful weekend. And whatever challenges are thrown your way, go to God first. Pray and ask Him for guidance. And wherever you feel that pull, you feel Him telling you, you should go here, or you should do this, or you should do that. Be obedient. And I guarantee you will reap such a beautiful harvest if you do not give up in it. God bless you guys.